All right, we got an old school here. This is a Whirlpool washer, and the issue with this clothes are wet after the cycle, and I want to show you what to check and how to know what the problem is. We're going to put it in spin, and we're going to watch it, and you'll see how it is doing. The lid switch on this is bypassed, so the drum will turn and you can open the lid. All right, so looks fine. I'll show you what to check. All right, so you see the machine spinning. Everything looks good. So what you're gonna do, we're dealing with a clutch. When your clutch is bad on this direct style machine, your clothing will be wet. And the reason for that, if the basket is empty, the machine will be just fine. You won't have a problem. If you bypass the lid and you spin it, it looks great, no problem. But as soon as you add some resistance, now resistance could be in the form of a weight pushing down on the basket, or basically holding it back. So if you grab the drum, hold it, and I'm going to pull the start, you should not be able to hold this back. If the clutch is good, it's going to yank it out of your hand, and it's going to be very difficult to hold. Now, when you hold it, you don't want to grab it too strong. You want to give it a little bit of chance to turn, but you want to stop it from turning. So you're not overpowering it, but you're holding it to stop it from turning. So you're letting it turn a little bit as you grip it until you basically stop it. All right. And that's a bad clutch. So the clutch is grabbing and trying to turn, but it's worn out, so it's not able to grab the basket and twist it. So your clothing are wet, replace your clutch. I will have a video on that, but you will have to remove that 7/16, remove it, go underneath, remove these 3 screws, I think they're 1/2 inch or 9/16, slide the transmission out, and you will see the clutch. All right, so I wanted to continue to show you guys how to bypass the lid switch so you're able to spin the drum without. Now this is another machine, still the same. It's a direct drive, excellent machine. In fact, this one is in really good shape. And so each one of these units they can have different setup, meaning how to access this part. Some will have the lid switch over here, and some will have it right here. Now, how you get in them will depend on, it'll depends on which model you have. Some will have screws here, and some will have clips. You'll need a putty knife to insert, and when you insert, you push up slightly to gain access. And of course, some will have screws like this one does. The ones with the screws that are hidden might have a little clip, usually Kenmore, still Whirlpool made, and you basically just grab the cover and you're able to get to the screws that are there. All right, and some, of course, the older models will have screws that are just sitting there, Phillips screws. Now, here's a trick. You can unscrew, and while you're unscrewing, keep some pressure right here, and as soon as you actually get all the screw out, it will slide forward, so you're not fully removing the screw. So there's the screw, and I'm going to do one turn, and it should be far enough, and you'll see it slide forward. There it is. And then you just pretty much just pull this thing forward slightly, and you're able to tilt it back. Now, sometimes when you're missing screws here, back there, you're not able to tilt it. So this unit is missing the screw. And you see how that one pivots? That's how it should be. And okay, so here's your lid switch. And sometimes these will burn. I've seen them wear too much wear and tear, and they literally start to burn. So, all right. So to run your machine, you are not going to worry about this because right now it's disconnected. So you'd get a piece of wire. Make sure it's a good solid gauge insulated piece, and just strip the two parts on the end. And what you're going to do, you're going to insert it into the white. Basically, it doesn't matter what color you have, providing you don't put it into the green, which is the ground. And you do it from the back. And make sure it's fully inserted. You will know once it's in. It goes all the way in, wiggle, and you can also test it. Once it's fully inserted, you would open the lid, put the machine on spin, drain and spin. If all is well, it will spin, or at least you'll hear something on the machine energizing. Okay, and make sure that you don't have to use any electrical tape. Everything looks pretty good, but if you don't have a good connection, you might want to just wrap a piece of electrical tape around it, just so that you don't have anything, touching metal. And that's that on that. And then you'd be able now to open the lid and verify if your clutch is good. So, and again, to change the clutch, of course, you would remove this cover. The other machine did not have a cover. You would gain access here. You might need a little hook. Sometimes they're tight. And sometimes this rubber here gets destroyed, so you might want to order one of those as well. And then that screw, if it's not too badly destroyed, you'll have to remove that. That's a 7/16. And you would just pull the whole agitator out, and then you'd go underneath. And I'll actually show you. I do have another video, but I might just show you how to remove the clutch, and then at least you'll know how to insert it back in. I do have a video, I'll link that video, but on this video, I'll actually show you how to change the clutch. All right, so you do have the shaft. Now, when you look at yours before you remove it, if you notice there's a lot of rust on the top, get a sandpaper, 220 or so grit, and just gonna rub this, and this will help for it to be extracted a lot easier than if you have a lot of rust up here. Now you got the transmission out, and this portion here is your clutch. And in my other video, I have another video dealing, pretty much covering the entire system of it. But basically what's happening is the machine is pushing this piece, and it's pushing against this, and it's turning. This portion is turning inside the clutch, or you may say the clutch is turning around it. Okay, and that's why. So when all is working well, there's an arm that grabs this and it pushes it around, and that's how the drum spins. So when you order yours, you will get this entire piece, and it will have, you might have a different color spring, and each springs, they have a different rating for tension. So if you do a lot of heavy stuff, you might want to increase the tension, and you do that by removing the clutch itself. This is the housing, and you do this, you squeeze, you get a channel lock or needle nose, and you squeeze, and it comes out. This one's been sitting around, but you'll understand what I'm talking about. All right, so when you do put these back in, they do have special installation. Okay, this portion here goes to the bottom. This goes to the clutch. So be mindful when you install. You see the little notch? That goes down. Now the springs, when you get the springs, you can pull them out, slightly pull, and then you would insert the stiffer spring, put it back in, and you have to line these up, little holes, turn it until it drops in there. There you go. And this is done. That's on your new part. This, you will also get a new piece. Now to remove the clutch or clutch housing, you will have a washer covering this. You'll slide it off. And then this, you can use a small flathead. Comes off, don't lose it. And you pretty much just lift this thing off. On this one, there was a clip. Okay, I don't know if it was already taken off, but it's going to be a clip. It's a wire clip. I'm not sure what happened to it. Maybe it's covered in, no, it's not here. Yeah, it's a wire clip. Oh, no, I think it's here. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was so dirty, guys. I'm sorry. Here it is, yeah. Okay, yeah. So this one, you got to be super careful. You don't want to lose it. And you pretty much go under it and pry it up. And while you do that, you just have your finger or your hand to catch it in case it pops up, because it will fly away on you. This one is pretty gnarly. You got some dirt on it and grease, so it's hard to see exactly what I'm doing. But basically, here's the clip. Okay, there it is. And then you pull it out. Don't lose that. Now, you can pull this up. And you will have also this insert, which is a piece of plastic. And you pretty much just install it back into the same reverse order. This pretty much is like a cushion. That's the hole. And when you insert this, those notches, they fit right into those. you will know when it fits in there. It fits in nice and level. And then you insert this. Now, I like to start with the inserted portion first, and then just pretty much just push this part in. You can just use your fingers sometimes. If it's too tight, you might need a flathead. Get a bigger one and just push it in. Just kind of keep it held just in case. Here it goes, and it's in. You'd put this in now, and then on top you'd put your washer. Make sure it's fully seated, and then you'll find a notch or a groove. It has to be in the groove. There it is. And you can always check to see if it's in the groove. Slightly screwdriver it on the side. If it doesn't move, that means it's in the groove. It's locked in. I don't have the washer, but you could slide the washer down, and then you would insert this. This might already be in there. If it's not, make sure you have the correct side. Make sure it's fully seated. And that's it. All right. And then you just slide this back in. Now, when you slide it in, you will have, there's a portion on your washer. Make sure you don't put them together. Make sure it goes on the left side or the opposite side of this. Don't put it on it. I like to put them down here, so make sure they're opposite when you slide this in. All right, that should be it. Thanks for watching.